Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the relentless, genuinely fascinating cycle of devastating falls and meticulous resurrections that perfectly define the German national football team. I am so incredibly excited to take you through this journey. We're going to look at how a team that the world historically views as an unstoppable force has actually been built, broken, and rebuilt time and time again.
You know, there's this quote you've probably heard a million times. Gary Lineker once said that at the end of the day, the Germans always win. It perfectly captures this global illusion of German football invincibility. You see those raw, dramatic moments of pure dominance on the pitch, and it feels true, right? But here's what we're going to uncover today. The historical reality of how this empire was actually built is far messier and, honestly, way more fascinating than simply always winning.
Section 1, the illusion of invincibility. Let's go ahead and dismantle that myth of effortless dominance right away and look at the turbulent foundations of this footballing giant. Far from being a natural powerhouse, this team's earliest days were honestly pretty rough. When football arrived from England way back in 1873, society viewed it with deep suspicion. They literally labeled it an English disease. Seriously. It wasn't even until 1900 that the German Football Association was founded. And their early record? Brutal. Their very first official international match in 1908 was a 5-3 loss, which was quickly followed by a crushing 9-0 defeat to English amateurs. 9-0? Doesn't exactly scream invincible machine, does it?
And this brings us to a deeply sobering piece of history. We actually have this incredible surviving video footage from 1910 featuring pioneer Julius Hirsch. While early players like Hirsch were absolutely crucial in building the game's initial popularity, the 1930s saw the sport completely hijacked for political propaganda. The Nazi regime systematically subjected sports to their ideology. Tragically, this meant excluding Jewish players like Hirsch from the very society and national team they had represented. It's a stark, heartbreaking reminder of how deeply intertwined sports and geopolitical history really are.
Section 2, Rising from the Rubble. Fast forward to the absolute devastation of World War II, and both the nation and its football team had to be rebuilt completely from scratch. Just look at this timeline. By 1942, things had become so fractured that the national team simply ceased to exist. Poof, gone. When football slowly started to return, geopolitical events had literally splintered the team into 3 completely different crests: West Germany, East Germany, and the French-controlled Saarland. Imagine trying to build a dominant football team when your talent pool is fractured into 3 separate pieces. Yet incredibly, this fragmented state set the stage for one of the most miraculous rebirths in sports history. Which brings us to the miracle of Bern, das Wunder von Bern. West Germany faced Hungary in 1954. Now, Hungary had been unbeaten in 32 matches. They were terrifying, and Germany falls behind 2-0 in the first 8 minutes. Game over, right? But no. They clawed their way back to a massive 3-2 victory. You can just feel the overwhelming joy in the footage from that day. This wasn't just a sporting victory. For a broken nation, this was an emotional and psychological resurrection. It finally gave them a reason to believe again. Section 3, Building the Golden Machine. With their national confidence restored, the West Germans spent the next few decades doing what they do best, constructing a ruthless, perfect footballing machine. If you want to understand their sheer mechanical willpower, just picture Franz Beckenbauer in the 1970 Game of the Century. He dislocates his shoulder in a grueling semifinal against Italy. They have no substitutes left, so what does he do? He completely refuses to leave the pitch. He plays through the pain with his arm literally strapped across his chest. Just take that in for a second. It is the absolute embodiment of resilience. They simply refused to break. That immense physical and mental drive, it fueled a true golden era. They were crowned European champions in '72 on their very first attempt. Then they captured the '74 World Cup against Johan Cruyff's revolutionary Netherlands and the 1990 World Cup against Diego Maradona's Argentina. Beckenbauer even won as both player and manager, alongside legends like Lothar Matthäus. As the Berlin Wall fell and Germany reunified, everyone thought the same thing. A unified German team is going to be absolutely unbeatable for years to come. Section 4. DOS reboot and 2014. But as we've learned, invincibility is a total illusion. Eventually, the empire grew old and complacent. Going into the early 2000s, they had an aging 90s roster relying on outdated tactics. The results? Back-to-back tournament humiliations in 2000 and 2004. So how did they respond? With a massive systemic reboot.
They completely tore it down, investing 114 million euros and creating an incredible 366 regional talent centers. 366! They made sure every kid in the country was scouted, and they entirely shifted their style to fast-paced, dynamic play. This wasn't just a quick fix, it was a total re-engineering of how the entire nation played the sport. And this meticulous rebuilding climaxed in a scoreline that will literally echo through history, 7-1. The contrast in the 2014 World Cup semifinal is just visceral. On one side, you have shocked, crying Brazilian fans watching their host nation get dismantled. On the other, Thomas Müller and a dynamic German squad breaking record after record. They delivered a staggering performance that shocked the entire planet, proving that their decade-long youth reboot had created a terrifyingly perfect football machine. Just days later, that system paid its ultimate dividend. Academy product Mario Götze chests the ball and sweeps home a breathtaking extra-time volley against Argentina. That goal secured Germany's fourth star and proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that DUS reboot was a total, historic triumph. Section 5. Collapse and Next Resurrection. Yet, as the cyclical history of this team constantly reminds us, even the most meticulously engineered football machines inevitably break down. The illusion of invincibility shattered once more, and wow, it was a steep fall. The defending champions crashed out in the group stage in 2018, and incredibly, it happened again in 2022. Add a heartbreaking late loss to Spain on home soil in Euro 2024, and you have a crisis. A key tactical flaw exposed through all of this: their ongoing struggle to find a traditional world-class number 9 striker to actually finish their chances. The cycle hit bottom again, forcing yet another painful reset. But remember, this is a team that only knows how to rise from its lowest moments. Now, under manager Julian Nagelsmann, you have a new generation trying to pull the team from the ashes. When you see dazzling, creative young talents like Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz playing this dynamic, exciting football, you can see the new spark. They are carrying the immense weight of their nation's cyclical history right on their shoulders as they rebuild. So as this new squad prepares to journey to North America for 2026, we are left to wonder. History shows that whenever Germany starts believing they are truly unstoppable, they find a way to get humbled. Will this cyclical phoenix rise from the ashes to capture a record-equaling 5th star, or is there another painful humbling waiting in the wings? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep this history in mind the next time you watch them take the pitch. You aren't just watching a 90-minute game, you're watching a century of survival.